Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Friday, November 14th, 2025. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? Can I please get the first two cards in our 5-card spread? We've got here the Nine of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with the Emperor card in its upright. I'm laughing really hard right now because before we started the podcast, I mentioned the fact that this energy right now, it's giving a lot of Persephone vibes. And the reason I'm getting Persephone vibes on it is because we've got like almost everything is in retrograde right now. It's literally, we are in a moment where it's easier for me to articulate upon the planets that are not in retrograde than are going through the laundry list of the ones that are. And the planets that are not in retrograde right now are Venus and Pluto. Okay. Venus and Pluto. And so, and the way I keep on describing this is, and I kind of told you guys, I'm like, strap in for this retrograde season. I keep on having clients asking me, when is it going to end? I'm like, there's not going to be a date by which this retrograde comes apart. It's not like these planets all collaborated to come together in retrograde. They all went into retrograde. It's a confluence moment. They all went to retrograde at different times. They're all going to come out of retrograde in different times. The important thing to kind of recognize, and I feel like there's a lot of the work in terms of doing this, often retrograde energy can create spaces where it feels very, very quiet, right? A lot of like working through the quietude of the retrograde cycles. And often, and I like to describe it too, depending on how one navigates through this, I like to describe that, one of the things we often do in a healthy spiritual journey is heal our relationship to silence. And this is very difficult because you have to understand, and I feel like this is interesting too, in the natural world, right? Silence can feel disturbing, right? It's almost like our bodies are in tune to feel anxiety in relationality to silence. But when we kind of move into the space of working into the identification point that we navigate through peace that is often articulated or amplified with silence, we heal our relationship to it. Now, this is very difficult because the thing about it, and I need to stress this, when we're not in a space by which when we're not in a healthy space, we sometimes we feel anxiety in the space of silence, right? We feel a lot of that heavy leaden quality to it. But that's why I keep on seeing that there's something really, there's something very beautiful that can be found in retrograde seasons. When we look towards silence and we understand that even in silence, there's a context by which there's a lot of things that can get done, right? Like the retrograde, I like to describe like working with retrograde energy. It's great for planning. It's great for working on context of the self. Sometimes this is not the ideal energy in terms of like wanting to push things through very quickly, right? Like often, and that's why I'm going to tell you right now, if you're trying to drive something forward in energy like this, prepare to feel frustrated to a certain extent because it's a lot of that, like I keep on getting, it's a lot of the churn of the retrograde that we're kind of navigating. And the important thing about that, and this is why I keep on saying, make sure that you're not assuming things in the space of experiencing that. Because the difference, I keep on hearing, the difference between working through something in a way that allows for the cultivation of something that feels productive, right? Like I keep on hearing, think about wheels that are turning during the retrograde, which is the space by which, even if you don't see something moving on the surface with the rapidity by which you yourself would ideally desire to see it, it doesn't mean that you yourself cannot be the embodiment of that sense of progress. So a lot of that work that we see right now that is potentially like that is like the nature of the work that we're effectively inhabiting, but it's hard. Retrograde seasons as prolonged as these can do a real number on the psyche. Don't over-internalize an external problem. Now, speaking upon how it affects the psyche, getting into the frequencies, working first on the energy and separation. And again, for the purposes that we've been reading for, these are the moon relationships that are coming together, either doing the work on the self or doing the work and coming into partnership and separation right now that was coming together from between the time of Uranus going retrograde up until now. Five of Pentacles in its reversal, a continuation of what we saw in relationality to, I keep on getting, reaffirming and relearning. Reaffirming and relearning. And what's nice about that is, and I keep on getting, it's interesting because something about these moon relationships, they're healing their relationship to humility, understanding that humility isn't embarrassment. Embarrassment and I don't know where this context that humility and embarrassment were the same things. They're not at all. Humility is the context by which we approach the world in the perception of being the perpetual student, the observation and the recognition of looking at a world looking at something in a state of wonder and being able to identify and recognize what one is working on learning better. So I keep on seeing that for a lot of these relationships, and the reason that these relationships are coming together so slowly is for a large majority of what we're effectively identifying here. These are energies that are healing from relationships where there was a massive amount of projection, just a massive amount of projection. And what we effectively identify with a lot of that like a lot of that force of projection is that if these are spaces by which they didn't necessarily feel that capacity or that ability of being able to do something productively, I just keep on getting that the energy itself is working on feeling the confidence. I keep on hearing feeling the confidence in being able to put their best foot forward. Right? Finding the confidence to be able to put their best foot forward, but not just having the confidence of putting their best foot forward, as it were, but putting their best foot forward and having the energy that they're building into new relationship with similarly and simultaneously feel the energetic support or the stabilization of understanding that it's okay. I keep on hearing like they're helping each other heal by letting them know that it's okay, that even if they're not perfect, like even if they make energetic mistakes in that context, it's still okay. I keep on hearing it's these, and this is what's beautiful about these relationships that are coming together right now. They're learning that that's a relationship where they're safe to make mistakes. Is what I keep on seeing. And I keep on hearing, because I almost hear the energy saying to each other, there are no mistakes, right? There aren't any mistakes. It's the ability by which they're able to, I keep on hearing, the ability by which they're able to just be productive through any of those frustrations. So there's a lot of, I keep on hearing, there's a lot of healing in these energetic modalities right now. But it's slow. I keep on hearing I keep on hearing the reaffirming, like doing something in an unfiltered way and then pulling back to make sure it's okay. And then someone articulating upon the fact that, like, giving someone confidence or the encouragement to go further. Now, this brings us to those temperance relationships. And again, those temperance relationships were the relationships that were coming together between the time of Uranus stationing retrograde up until the time of the solstice period that we saw this earlier this summer. 2 cards, please. We've got here the Moon card in its reversal in combination with the 4 of Cups in its reversal. Now, what's interesting about these relationships that, and the thing with these temperance relationships, so I keep on the watchwords here, the new relationships are reaffirming and relearning, right? They're not only, they're either doing that for the self. It's okay. I keep on hearing the energy say the only way to have a breakthrough is the ability to be able to do something in a way that you haven't done it before. It's a lot of, I keep on getting, there's a lot of trial and error there, but in the best way possible. For the energy that's coming into divine union, I keep on getting decentering and recentering. Decentering and recentering. So working into the context by which they're working on, I keep on seeing something by which they came to understand in relationality to the context of the counterpart, opened a lot of feelings up, a lot of emotions. It would be very indulgent for them to go back and do something about it, but they're not. Because they recognize that I keep on hearing, when we harbor feelings for the past, then we're centering past in partnership. So that's why I keep on hearing the energy that's going decentering and recentering. Any feelings that they may have around the past, they're not going back towards the past to resolve them, but they're working on building a better present. Right? They're just allowing their hands to be filled with present. And I keep hearing in that way, I keep on hearing they're doing a lot of the work in being present in partnership. They've never been present like this in a relationship before, because I keep on seeing, I just keep on hearing there's no purpose in ruminating upon something so long as one could just be actively working to change it. But I keep on hearing it's interesting and it's hard because they're also deepening their own emotional empathy for one another, because it's like they're resolving through hard feelings, and not just the hard feelings upon how the counterpart may have been treated in the past, but further recognizing and identifying what it is. Like, I keep on hearing the fact that there's a connectivity point to how indulgent it would feel to be able to go back to something and allowing the context by which one is feeling triggered by it. But they're not, I keep on hearing, they're not letting that trauma trigger that would feel so indulgent affect what it is that they're working on in the present. Now, this brings us to the energy again in separation, clarification between our Nine of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Emperor card. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now with the King of Swords. And I like this King of Swords energy here, because this King of Swords energy, I just keep on seeing this King of Swords energy. This King of Swords energy really speaks upon, I just keep on seeing, this is the authenticity of these new relationships. These relationships, like I told you, like, look at this. This is beautiful. And it is going to feel different for masculine and feminine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. For a lot of this energy that we're effectively identifying and seeing right now, everything I keep on observing has to do, I just keep on getting, this is the energy that, like, look how much confidence. Like, there's so much confidence that they're giving in each other. And I want you to see this. Look at the confidence. The confidence in not needing to be perfect. Again, relearning and reaffirming, right? I almost feel like it's like, again, this energy, like, I just keep on getting, like, the shape, like they're healing from the shape of another person's projections. I just keep on hearing the same thing. The feeling by which they feel like they couldn't do anything right? I keep on hearing the space by which it feels like we can't do anything right is often the space by which we identify the source of our trauma in our lives, right? Because it's the space by which that is the nature of projection. Right? It's the space by which another person, and I keep on hearing the assurance that they're giving one another is, I keep on hearing the energy saying, like, if there's something that needs to be changed, I'll be the first one to tell you, right? They're building into, I keep on hearing they're building into the space that even the relationship that they're creating right now is a resentment-free zone, right? Because resentment is the sediment that we bring from the past, right? Resentment is the sediment that we bring from the past which doesn't allow something to change. So that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy doing that work, there's there's something like, and it's interesting because it's like I keep on hearing this energy that is almost apologizing to one another for the fact that they're not perfect. And I keep on seeing someone saying, you have nothing to apologize for. And I keep on hearing, even having some kind of context of inquiry in relationality to why they keep on apologizing for something that is natural. So there's a lot of that confidence that's happening in these experiences. Now, continuing to get clarification between our Emperor card and our Five of Pentacles in its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify? Woo, we've got the Nine of Cups in its reversal. So again, I feel like what I'm seeing right now for a lot of these temperance relationships, and what's interesting about, I think it's so funny because I keep on seeing that for the energy in separation, the ability of someone saying, stop apologizing, right? Like, I feel like in a way they're actually saying to each other, like, the one thing you can do is stop apologizing. I think it's funny because I see the opposite happening right now in the temperance relationships, which is someone not stopping upon, like, articulating upon the fact that an apology is necessary, is what I keep on seeing. Because I just keep on getting, for a lot of those experiences or a lot of those modalities by which they're articulating, I keep on seeing a lot of feelings coming up about the past. And that's what I meant. Like, I keep on seeing they're talking through it instead. I keep wondering, they're talking through it instead of crashing out about it. And I keep on getting that in itself is a massive triumph, is what I keep on hearing for a lot of those temperance relationships that are doing that work. Because I keep on hearing that they're saying, I think it's funny because I can see them sanctifying the relationship, and the way that they're sanctifying the relationship as it relates to working through unresolved feelings of the past is almost the energy like articulating to each other about what they would like to do about a situation, but by which they're not, is what I keep on seeing. They're like, what I could do, but I'm not going to do that, is what I keep on hearing. It's like, it's a lot of that energy that is like, I keep on, and again, I think it makes sense. Like, it makes a lot of sense because, yeah, I'm just going to point out, these are the type of, it's because Mercury and Mars are on top of each other in Sagittarius. So these are the type of conversations that are happening right now that feel like they're building into the heart of empathy for the temperance relationships. What I could do is, like, I almost see like it's almost creating a little bit of a humor between, like, I keep wondering, they're developing a humor on it because the energy, that's also what they're articulating upon sanctifying a relationship, which is the space by which they're articulating upon what they would like to do, but which they're not, because they're preserving the sanctity of the energetic partnership, is what I keep on seeing. They're honoring, I keep hearing they're honoring each other's wishes in the best way possible, right? There's something significant and important there about the mindfulness and the respect that they're giving to each other in relationality to how they choose to handle things. Now, this brings us to those energies that are deep within divine union, and these are those magician relationships. So again, the relationships that were coming together between the time of the solstice up until the time of Mercury and Venus stationing direct behind Neptune. Transverse card on the table between our Five of Pentacles in its reversal and our Moon card in its reversal. Death card in its transverse. I keep on hearing hope, not patience. Hope, not patience. And why are they saying hope, not patience? Because remember how I articulated that a lot of these relationships that are coming together right now, the energy deep within divine union, are going through a maturation process, right? They're seeing something outside of relationship that distresses them. But they're also recognizing they're going through warrior lessons because they're understanding what is in their power to change versus what is in their power to accept. And the message I keep on hearing in relationality to these partnerships is the understanding that one can always leave oneself available for a productive conversation, but one can't chase after a productive conversation because a chased after productive conversation becomes an unhealthy confrontation. So that's why I keep on seeing, I told you, this is the energy that's working on being steadfast through a transition period. And I keep on seeing the energy that is working through, I keep on hearing, they're working through, I keep on, and I keep on hearing, they're learning the difference between non-attachment and disassociation, right? Because they're working on feeling something where they have a lot of feelings, right? They're not trying to make themselves not feel the fact that they feel about something about something outside of relationship that upsets them. But they're working on being non-attached. And the reason I keep on hearing they're working on being non-attached is because, and I keep on hearing, hope, not patience. Because I keep on hearing them say that when we try to put patience towards something we see outside of relationship, that does not appeal to us or something that we would prefer would be differently, I keep on hearing that too is projection, right? Did you think projection was just about projecting mean things onto each other? I hate to break it to you. Projection is also the space by which you're looking towards someone and you're saying that you're being patient. Do they know you're being patient? That's also the shape of projection, right? I keep on hearing patience. We can only bring patience to things. Mutual patience is productive, right? Patience can only be productive in the context by which another person understands that we're being patient for them and they appreciate it. But when we look at someone and we're outside of a counterpart or anyone and we say we're being patient, do they know that? That's the shape of your own projection. So I keep on seeing that's why the energy is working on hope and understanding that patience is something that we give ourselves. Patience is something that we observe and we articulate to another. Patience is a present that we give to each other. And the way you can usually tell if the patience that you're bringing to a situation is appreciated is in the observation of another person appreciating the fact that you're offering it, is what I keep on hearing. Because you have to understand that patience means, right, when you think about patience means the space by which you're experiencing something that you say is unsatisfying, but you're hoping that something is resolved. And it's really important that we do this work, because one of the things that is very toxic is when we try to say to ourselves, like I keep on hearing, the positive indulgence of being like, I'm being patient around a situation. You can't say that your patience is a gift if another person hasn't asked for it, or if another person doesn't realize that they're receiving it. It's something that we give to each other, and we acknowledge healthy patience is a gift because we articulate the fact that we're providing it. And often we create imbalanced relationships when we're sitting there and we're saying to ourselves, I'm being patient, and another person feels like everything is energetically perfect. So what's beautiful about some of these magician relationships is they're going through a maturation process, and it's hard and it's heavy, but they're also recognizing their own tendencies in the past to potentially bring patience to things, but understanding, right? Understanding the corrective action in relationality to making sure and articulating upon the fact that we don't bring patience to situations where another person doesn't recognize we're being patient. We reserve our patience for those who energetically appreciate it, is what I keep on hearing. And that's what they're doing in relationship. And not even just in relationship, but I also see that they're having that conversation with others as well. Continuing to get clarification between our moon card in its reversal in combination with our 4 of cups in its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify, please? 6 of wands in its upright. And so what's lovely about the Six of Wands here and getting back to the energy in separation, for a lot of this energy, we've got another card flying out. Hold on. We've got to address this card as well, is what I keep on seeing. And the reason I have to pull this card out here too, because as I was about to do that, like as I was about to give that, as I was about to drop the 6 card. So for anybody who's listening to the podcast, in the process of me trying to drop the 6 of Wands, the six of Cups forced itself out of the deck. Is what I keep on seeing. And it's interesting too, because it's the 6 of Cups and it's transverse. We were having this issue yesterday. It was very funny because yesterday's reading, if you were here, yesterday's reading was all, and again, the kids will go wild about this. It was all 6s and 7s. And then there was an 8 on the bottom of the deck. And I think it's funny because a lot of the reading yesterday was navigating through the absurdity, right? The absurdity that sometimes points to the direction of something that is like something that is traumatizing or dramatic, right? That we don't have energetic time for, right? And I keep on hearing, and this is what's interesting that's happening right now. Sorry, it was just coming. Wow, sorry, it was just coming through for the energy and separation. I keep on hearing for the moon relationships, that modality by which another person was seeking a space by which they could reaffirm and relearn together. Like the reason that I keep on seeing that something is happening here that feels so emotional is because I can literally see something that is healing on a profound level right now with some of these relationships by which another person articulates and says, hey, nobody's perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. And I can almost hear the energy saying, like, almost like wanting to weep in the space of energetically receiving that from someone. Because I can see the energy almost moving away from a traumatizing space or situation where it felt like, and that's the power of another person's projection, which is like often we understand, like the hard part about trauma is sometimes trauma doesn't feel like someone's overtly hurting us. But the fact that I keep on hearing, it's not the fact that it feels like someone's overtly hurting us, but the feeling that, like, I keep on hearing like this energy that felt like somebody was like, I keep on hearing like somebody was almost continually putting their own perception in relationality to their projections. And this is what we talk about, which is like the real danger of idolatry, which has to do with potentiality. We don't put the potentiality in what we expect in partnership in a person. Because when we put potentiality in personhood, then we create idolatry in our relationships. And that creates a space by which we're constantly disappointed, right? When we hold each other to unreasonably high standards, right? We don't allow the observation of being able to accept someone for the true embodiment of who they are. And often it creates that space by which and I keep on seeing this, like I almost feel like this energy that is working through an experience by which another person adored them, but didn't necessarily feel like they saw them, right? The space by which another person, and I keep on hearing like the problem with some of these relationships is they're literally coming out of some space by which another person was like I keep on hearing like, you know what I mean? Like the space by which another person has that tendency of pedestalizing. And this is why we have to heal from the ability to pedestalize. Pedestalizing will ruin every relationship you're ever in. Because when you pedestalize, all you're doing is you set the standard insanely high. I keep on hearing, when we pedestalize, we set ourselves up for disaster because nobody could potentially ever stay like in that space of the pedestal, right? So I almost see this energy that is recovering or healing from relationships where someone did not acknowledge the fact that their ability to pedestalize something was creating the detriment in a relationship. Because often, and this can often create that space by which, when someone starts to identify the real person, they go, you're not living up to my expectations. And being like, who gave you those expectations? Right? Like where did you get those expectations? I made them myself. Okay, that's weird. Like, that's weird. Like, I made them myself. Be like, you made those. Why did you make them yourself? Like, it's the space by which we understand, like you can't like who, like nobody, like somebody being like, you're not, and I keep on hearing somebody like literally having a conversation with someone by which they were constantly saying, you're really not living up to the expectations, and being like, where on earth did you get these expectations? Like, where did they come from? Where are they from? And someone being like, in here, I made them up in my head all by myself. Like, so there's a lot of that's happening there. I'm continuing to get clarification between our King of Swords in its upright and in combination to the Nine of Cups in its reversal. Yeah, they cared about me too much and I couldn't do anything right, is what I keep on seeing. This is often what happens, right? Literally, I see some energy right now that's leaving a relationship where another person, like I keep on hearing, like the difference between another person, like I keep on hearing like somebody going through like the fantasy, like the fantasy. We are not here to help to save each other. We're here to help each other grow, is what I keep on getting. But I keep on hearing, like, when we look towards relationship to be saved, I've got some bad news for you. There's no relationship that will save you. Like, that's what I keep on getting. Like the journey of healthy partnership is not the space by which the relationship is our salvation. We bring salvation into the relationships that we find for each other. We become each other's source of light. We become each other's supportive system. So I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy doing this work, there's something significant and important. I keep on hearing, like, I feel like there's a lot of the energy, these moon relationships, they're opening up as to why they're so reserved to each other. Right? Like, and that's what I keep on hearing. It's the energy that's expressing. I keep on seeing they're coming towards each other unfiltered, and they're feeling the frustration in having experienced something like that. Someone like going through a situation of saying somebody had the gift of having the opportunity of knowing the self, and all they had to do was let go of the fantasy of what they anticipated that would be, and someone being like they couldn't do it. Right. And I keep on seeing like I keep on hearing like for a lot of the energy right now, I keep on getting for a lot of the energy going through that work. It's painful. Right. Like there's something significant about that in relationality to the energy not feeling good enough. And that's why I keep on hearing like that is the trauma upon it. Like, and I keep on hearing like this energy, like these moon relationships, they're leaving situations where they're energetically traumatized. And I almost feel like the space by which they were traumatized by another person's disappointment in the illusion that they created about someone instead of accepting the reality of another, is what I keep on hearing. And so that's what's so painful about these relationships. And that's why I see this energy almost apologizing to each other as they find one another. Because I keep on hearing they're almost saying to each other, I'm sorry you're finding me so banged up. It's like, I'm sorry you're finding me so banged up. But like that, I feel like they're almost saying like somebody did a real number on their psyche in that way. Now this brings us to those temperance relationships that a lot, and it's so funny because every time I read into these temperance relationships right now, I just keep on getting a lot of that like why I oughta kind of energy. Like speaking towards, again, like Mercury and Mars, like very close, like almost on top of each other in Sag. Clarification between our Nine of Cups and its reversal with the Death card and its transverse. 2 cards coming out. Ooh, there you see. we've got the Devil card and it's upright with the King of Cups. And that I told you what's hard right now for these relationships I keep on getting the trauma trigger, the trauma trigger. This is the energy. And this is what I meant. Remember when I kept on saying that these temperance relationships don't confuse kindness for weakness? The energy that says, I'm not going to do anything, but don't you dare. I keep on, every time I read for this energy right now, I just keep on hearing that song by Goldfrapp, Give Me a Reason, which says, don't I'm not going backwards, but if someone it's like, don't you dare type of energy, right? Like it's giving me a little bit of this energy that's saying, don't start anything I won't finish. Like, don't start something you can't energetically finish. I told you this is them work. I keep on hearing they're working through the Neptune lesson, right? And what's the Neptune lesson? Neptune lesson says don't touch Neptune stuff, which is the energy that's sanctifying the relationship by saying I'm not going back to the past to resolve something that you've healed from. But if that past has the audacity, if that past has the audacity of trying to come here or trying to do something in the present, this is the energy that's like, that is, I keep on hearing that's the energy goes, that doesn't become a Neptune lesson. It's almost like a war cry is what I keep on seeing. It's literally the energy. And that's what I meant. Like they're war crying to each other, which is to say, like, I'm not going to do anything. I just want to talk to him. I'm not going to do anything, but there's a but here. There's a but that says like, I want you to recognize, I keep on hearing the energy saying to each other, I want you to recognize what you're finding here is not what I want to do. This is me sanctifying the relationship is what I keep on hearing. Like this is the energy literally clarifying to each other and saying, I would like you to know that this is the shape of me sanctifying the relationship, which is me not doing what I would like to do in a circumstance or situation. Continuing to get clarification between our death card in its transverse and this double helix we got right now. Double helix of sixes here. With the six, the reason I'm saying it's a double helix is because we've got the Six of Wands in its upright with the Six of Cups in its transverse. So the best way I can describe that right now is that's a double helix six. One card to clarify. Knight of Wands. Yeah, man. Completely different energy right now for the Magician relationships. Letting it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. I keep on seeing the energy just working on letting it go. They're working on I keep on hearing non-attachment, not disassociating, holding hope, but not letting hope become waiting, patience. And I keep on hearing the shape of our patience is projection when another person does not recognize we are being patient for them. I just keep on hearing this right now for the energy deep within divine union. The shape of our patience becomes projection when another person has not consented to the fact that we're being patient for them. And that's what's really beautiful about, when I told you these magician relationships are going into a massive maturation period, they understand patience is something we give the self. Patience is a gift we give someone that acknowledges both in the space by which we articulate that we're giving it, and also in the space by which another person acknowledges that they're receiving it. And patience, and this is why we talk about the fact that not all projection is negative. You got to make sure you're catching yourself, because sometimes you're projecting when you're like, I'm being patient on a situation. Do they know that? That's also the shape of you projecting. You can't say you're being patient on something if another person doesn't recognize the fact that you're doing so. That is projection. And that's what I keep on seeing about this energy. They are calling back. They are allowing the understanding that patience is something that we give to each other, not a secret we keep. Not a secret. I'm being patient for them. No, that's weird. That's weird. Continuing to get clarification between our Sun card in its upright, the Death card in its upright, and the King of Cups in its reversal. Oh, there's so much weird energy right now. And I keep hearing, and then it's funny too, because I keep on getting, there's good weird and there's bad weird, is what I keep on hearing. That's it. It's also, yeah, that makes sense too. Venus in Pluto, being the only planets not in retrograde, is understanding that the weird that is good is the weird you own up to. Okay, write it down. The weird that is good is the weird that you own. It's great. Having weird is awesome. Own your weird. Okay. Because when we own our weird, and you'll also often notice that those who own their weird are often those who've done their shadow work properly, right? Like like it's okay. Like you can trust them. They're weird, but they know they're weird. When someone's weird is when they don't want to own their weird, and then they're just weird. You know what I'm talking about, right? Everybody's weird. It's just a question of quantifying how much of the weirdness you are taking energetic accountability for. And what's beautiful about that is when we own our weirdness, it becomes something that feels like it's energetic unique. It becomes exquisite. It becomes beautiful. But when we're all twisted up about it, and that's where I got the double helix of the 6, right? And this is what's hard. When you don't own your weird and you see someone embracing your weird, it creates a lot of feelings, doesn't it? Makes you a little angry. Makes you feel a little ferocious. Is that an inside problem or is that an outside problem? You want to find out where the negative energy is coming from. The call is coming from inside the house. Because if someone's being weird and it's not hurting you, but you've suddenly got a lot of unhappy, unpleasant feelings, that is the sound of your unconscious knocking, asking you to do a little bit of work as to why it might be creating so much volatility in you to see someone genuinely happy and not energetically hurting anybody. That is why that is what we talk about with shadow work. It's working through the unresolved feelings we have as it relates to navigating the weird energy that we ourselves are capable of bringing to situations. And we are all, nobody doesn't have that. It is the nature of being alive. It is the nature of energetically existing. But when we're working to resolve it within ourselves, right? That is the space of us healthy processing. And again, even in the space by which we understand and the way you can and I tell you right now, this type of energy, projection central. But the way that you can usually, and I hate to say it too, not all feelings, and this is what we talk about, someone will be projecting on you like crazy. And they'll say, I'm honoring my feelings. You shouldn't be. Because before you can honor a feeling, you have to filter the feeling. Not all feelings are alike because again, if I see something about you, right? If I see something and I'm projecting on you and I see you in a moment and I got a lot of feelings and then I bring that anger to you and then I say to you, I'm honoring my feelings because I hate you. That's not honoring the feelings. That's projecting the work that you need to do inside the self on another person. That is literally the sound of your projection. Honoring feelings is not just expressing to another that you have them. It's working on understanding why. You can't honor the feelings unless you're able to articulate why you have them, right? Why are you bringing it to my doorstep? Why is it at your house? Right? It's like not all feelings are alike, and you cannot not be doing the work to understand your feelings and then telling another person you're just honoring your feelings and they're not letting you be healthy for honoring them, because just letting someone know how you feel all the time isn't how you honor a feeling. As my cup falls on the floor. That is just, again, perfect example. That is you just pouring your feelings out onto others and making your weird feelings another person's responsibility. Clarification between our Devil card, the King of Cups in its reversal, and the Knight of Wands in its upright. Boom, we've got here the 5 of Cups in its reversal. Again, that's what we talk about in relationality. And I keep on hearing the difference between honoring and spilling. What is the difference between honoring and spilling? Honoring feelings is the space by which we say, I have a lot of feelings. I need to work through these. I need to sit back and contemplate upon why I feel the way I do, right? And this is often how we identify where the shadow work comes from. Because the space by which we have feelings and being like, that doesn't make any sense. Well, there's some work you got to do, doesn't it? That's interesting. You got a feeling that doesn't make sense? You got a feeling that doesn't feel energetically valid? That's your shadow work knocking at the door. That is the space by which you begin. That is the space by which you start to work to understand the why, right? That is how you honor feelings. That is how you decide whether the feeling is something that you bring to your own doorstep or whether you bring them to another person. What can someone do to resolve them? And sometimes we recognize that that's an inside problem. Sometimes it's an outside. But when we're in the space of spilling, and you'll often experience this, and especially in energy like we have now, someone who's constantly spilling their emotions everywhere, and then saying it's your job to honor them because I'm just being honest. No, 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 no. That's like that is not being honest. Like that is not the space by which you say I have these and therefore you have to honor them. It's the space by which we recognize and identify. Like that is you, and that is the force of projection. When you say I've got a lot of unresolved feelings and no, I'm not going to do the work to work on them. I'm going to make them your problem, right? We don't bring our feelings to each other's doorstep unless we know where their address is, right? We only bring emotions to each other when we understand that there's something that needs to be addressed. You have to know the address of the emotions before you do something with them. Because if not, then you are projecting your emotions on everyone and then telling everyone you're honoring them, but you're not. You're just trying to find places for your emotions to live that are anywhere beyond the self. Be anywhere beyond the self. And this is why we don't work into the space of saying, how do I make these feelings go away? You're not supposed to make the feelings go away. You're supposed to figure out their address. Continue. And that's what we talk about with integration. That's what we mean. That's why we talk about non-attachment is not disassociation. It's not the space by which you stop feeling. It's understanding the location by which the feelings live. Continuing to get final card for today's spread between our 10 of Swords in its upright in combination with our 5 of Cups in its reversal. We've got here the Queen of Pentacles in its upright. And I like a queen. We like a queen like here. And I got to tell you right now, different energy for masculine and feminine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. And I like to point this out. And it's funny too, because I keep on hearing isn't it wild? You know, the space by which we talk about, and I keep on hearing this, the space by which we talk about right. The space by which we talk about what is right. And the thing is, again, I keep on hearing the difference between saying, I have a right versus that's not right, which is the space by which, and I keep on hearing sometimes, you ever notice that there's always, whenever you hear someone say, I have a right, usually the most entitled thing you've ever heard in your entire life is about to come out of someone's face. It's what I keep on hearing. Have you ever, like, sometimes it's the qualifier often that when one has to declare, I have a right, it's often the space by which another person is about to articulate upon their entitlement. Because often, I need to point this out, it's not the fact that one has a right, everyone does, right? It's the space by which you say, if the way we proportion out what is energetically right is something that is mutually shared. And that's often, right? Like often you'll notice that those that are trying to make sure that that's clear, they'll often say to someone, is this right? Is it right that I feel that way? Is it right that it's the space by which we work something out, right? We don't assume, we check. And that's what I keep on seeing is so powerful in some of these new relationships that are coming together. They're working something out with one another, and then they're double checking to each other. And I told you, relearning and reaffirming, right? Did I get that right? Yeah, you got that right. Seems pretty right to me. I would tell you if you were off on that, right? They're helping each other work through something. The energy right now that's coming into divine union, I think it's interesting because those temperance relationships are saying to each other, I have a right to, but I'm not going to, right? Like it's the space by which they're articulating upon the fact that they see something that wasn't right, that they wish that they could correct, but they're not because they're honoring the journey of the counterpart. But that's why they're saying, I have a right to, which is why they're saying, don't confuse the kindness for weakness, which is the energy that almost articulates and says, I'm not going to do anything about that. But if someone persists towards the present, then I keep on hearing that's no longer a Neptune lesson. That's them protecting and honoring the sanctity of the energetic partnership. While for the energy that's deep within divine union right now, a lot of that energy that we're effectively seeing for a lot of those relationships or a lot of those situations, those magician partnerships, they're healing because they're going through the emotions of seeing something outside of relationship that they wish that they could change, but understanding that they can't affect it. But they're honoring each other in the journey by which I keep on hearing, hard to see, better to see. Hurts to see, better to know, right? They're allowing the context by which they're holding hope that something can change, but they're also building patience for each other in terms of what they're trying to grow. Recognizing that healthy energy wants to see us steadfast. Bottom of the deck on this reading, Three of Wands in its reversal. So for a lot of the energy that we're seeing right now, this Three of Wands in its reversal, I need to point this out. It has to do with healthy conversation. And if I keep on getting the same message, if you're ever unsure that something you're feeling is calibrated to being too egoic or not, it's the space by which you can allow the context of having a healthy conversation about it, right? And so I keep on seeing, I keep on hearing, this is why it's so, and I keep on hearing, building into situations where you say that you're being patient and another person doesn't know you're being patient, that's projection, right? Because that's you, and I keep on hearing, that is you looking at something and saying, I'm waiting for it to change. But again, recognizing that we don't, when we look for things to change that are not inclined to change, that is us projecting our desires upon it. That when we're in a healthy space, we understand our patience is a gift. We articulate to others that we're giving it to them, and others who receive it recognize it and hold that as a space of sanctity. There is nothing more beautiful. And this is what we do in healthy partnership. We're patient together. And even in the space by which we're not perfect, we understand that patience is amplified by progress, right? We work through it, we resolve it, we continue to work to heal it, we recognize what we're trying to do better. So it's a continual journey of working through that calibration. So I keep on hearing like the solution to this right now is making sure that you're being patient, but understand that patience is not projected out to the world or outside the self. Be patient with yourself first. Be patient with your own progress. And again, the way you can fortify your patience is making sure that another person understands that you're being patient towards them. Right? Because the space by which another person understands that you're being patient is the space by which you say, I'm energetically unsatisfied with the way that something is. I'm expecting it to energetically change. So that ability of communicating that effectively allows for something to be clear. That is where we find all of the energy prior to beginning today's day. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my site. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book a reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my site, so I'd encourage you to do it there. A couple of updates before we move into our personal readings today. First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone who participated in our recent class on the moon card. Our next class will be held on Thursday, November 19th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the Sun card. If you would like to become a part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head over to my stack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my stack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also, as a monthly subscriber, have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class archive. Now, it's not necessary to catch up. I do my best to give you an update on everything we've studied prior to beginning that next class, but the materials are there for you to receive as you're ready to receive them. And if you become, you'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything we've learned and studied thus far. And if you become a founding member, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, you will also receive a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, where I will meet with you personally to assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes, moving towards the moving towards your tarot goals going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a subscriber, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. You'll also find my Mystic Meditation articles there, which will let you know about what we've been experiencing energetically in article form. I also want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits. Also, for my students seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to now offer dream interpretation readings, which can be purchased per dream or as a series. If you purchase the series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow.